Yeah, so
So,
yeah, I will show you, this is my infrastructure. So this is DataIntell. Like I said earlier, it's a web application, and this represents my data in my facility. So we have 4 different NASs. We have an RQR P5 index in my system, which store is archived in a B2 bucket. And we also have one Backblaze digital workflow for people that are working remotely. So this is a bucket where we put data there and people can work remotely with that data. And the web application gives you an overview of all that in one place. So it splits in 4 different sections. Here we are currently on the dashboard, and I can tell you that in my system, the most active storage in the last month is my NAS X here. And if I scroll a bit on my dashboard, we can take a look at how full are my different on-prem storage, my different digital workflow bucket, and even my RQR P5 index, which is again located in a B2 bucket, but we can also have some data in LTO tape if you have an LTO tape for your archive. Everything is clickable, so it's very easy to use. It's designed for non-technical people, but also technical people. So here we have 47 terabytes of cold data. So based on the access date, I can tell you that this data has not been touched in more than 6 months. And if I click on it, it will bring me to the search section with a filter predefined for me. It will give me a result in terms of list of files. It will also give you the result based on that filter for the folders. And it will also give me a visual representation of that search query. So I can tell you that all the files that were accessed 6 months ago, based on the creation date, we have 26 terabytes of data that were created in 2021. And most of those files are MP4 based on the extension. If I want to learn more about the MP4 that are last accessed 6 months ago, I can just click and it will add new filters for me. And just like that, I can drill down my result and it will update all my search result tabs here. So that's a quick way to start from very large sets of data and go granular based on different filters. Again, it's a centralized search engine, so you can search for on-prem storage, cloud, or archive, and you can apply just by keyword, or you can also look at different filters that we have here. That's an example of how we can quickly search for files. Another real-world example of how people are using DataIntell is with the P5 integration. So here we have all our physical silos that we have in my infrastructure. I can take a look at my archive silo. So this is my current folder structure in my RQR P5 archive. And I can drill down and look at the different folders that we have in the archive. And let's say we need to restore some file because we're actually working on a project. I could just select that specific folder that is located in my archive and restore the selected file with P5. So if I do that, it will communicate with the REST API of our RQR P5. You can specify where you want to restore that file on your on-prem storage. So I can put that here. And then it will send a job to RQR P5 to restore that folder to this specific location on the on-prem storage. So very easy to have one place where you can quickly look at all your archive and restore files. And you can even select multiple folder and do the same kind of workflow for a restore function.
And if this is an archive where the files have gone to Backblaze B2 storage, then of course the everything is instantly available from B2. It's just a matter of your bandwidth and how quickly you can download however many gigabytes it is that you're restoring.
Exactly. Another use case we can look at is we have a B2 digital workflow where we have people working remotely with some files. So I can take a look at this B2 here, and we have one folder with different sound project that we're working on. Maybe we need to clean up some stuff or migrate some stuff. We already have insights about that specific B2 bucket, and we can take a look at the different project, how much data they're using with the easy to use folder navigation here. Let's say we have a project that we know we need to ingest 40 terabytes and it will be moved to NAS here, the NAS W. I can open that. It will again show me the file folder structure, but that's not where I want to look right now. It's mostly on the insights and how am I using currently this specific NAS. If we need that 40 terabytes, we need to move data to a new location. So I might think to start archiving files that have not been accessed in more than 6 months. So I will click on the insights. This will bring me to the search section again with all the files on the NAS that were last accessed 6 months ago. And from a search result, you can select all the files and archive that with P5 again, with the P5 integration. So here we have a list of all the archive plan we have. I'm taking the B2 archive plan, and it will archive 46 terabytes from the NAS W to my B2 archive bucket with Archiver P5 plugin. So very easy to clean up and optimize storage space based on real actual fact and data based on something you're not using actually. Because it's data that has not been touched in more than 6 months.
Yeah, I like the way that it warns you that there's more than 10 terabytes to upload, so it might take a while.
Yeah,
but even with that, if you have gigabit or upwards wide area network links, then you really don't have to wait that long to get data off of your on-prem storage into the cloud. It'll go pretty quickly.
And depending on how you define your archive plan, you could in Archiver P5 you could define an archive plan to delete files once they are archived. So it can for you delete all the data once they're migrated. So quickly you can look at of how the file are getting moved to a new location, and you would see that here in the timeline of that specific storage. It will go lower probably tomorrow once it's finished, or in the 2 days.
Yeah.
But you will see changing over time of the capacity use for that specific storage.
But if you didn't choose to have ArchiWare do the delete as part of the archive task, you could identify duplicates and then delete those off of the on-prem storage, right?
Exactly. DataIntell does not act on data. It's a passive solution, but you could export that as a CSV. You can tag those files. There's different way you can do that. We also have a REST API, but there's different way we can act on that data.
No, I appreciate that by having it as this is a analytics solution which will not touch your data.
Exactly,
it makes it much more comfortable for people to use without making any doing any damage.
Let's look at the last example that we can do with DataIntell. We have a concept called project. It's a way to group information. It could be a project. A lot of people are using it also to monitor department or teams. And I created a project called Alpha Project, which is used for the sound editing team. They have data in 3 different silos. They are using data for on the NAS here. They have data in the archive, and they are leveraging the B2 digital workflow. We allocate this team a 5 terabyte limit. It's non-blocking, but it's just a way to track how people are using data in the infrastructure and just keep data below that threshold. We can even set notification based on that threshold. And if we want to optimize usage of data for that specific project, we can look at duplicate or cold data. And again, if I click, it will bring me to the search section. But we can also look at different silos. So here we have the B2 digital workflow. And I can tell you we have a lot of duplicate data in that B2 digital workflow. So if we're near our limit capacity of our B2 reserve, we could optimize that by getting rid of the duplicate data on the B2 digital workflow. Again, because we're scanning every day, it will also give you a timeline of that project. So here we have a real timeline of what is the usage for that team that have data in 3 different locations in my infrastructure. So that's a quick sample of how you can leverage your infrastructure data to take rational decision on your storage. Very easy to use. It's very friendly, and it brings a way to non-technical people to understand the weight of data in the infrastructure.
And Olivier, who would be some of those core people like are looking at these numbers? Like I could see a number of people in my world, but who would they be?
It depends on the use case. So for the search engine, we have a lot of people that are just data generators, so people that generates data and just want to retrieve files. So this is one of the use case. If you're more a director, or you're managing the IT teams, or you're managing the storage, you might use the project and file management section to monitor what's happening on your storage over time and where you should invest in the future, because potentially you will need more storage, that's for sure, because storage is just keep growing. But how do you take decision? It's based on that kind of data. So if I need to buy new B2 reserve storage, how much data do I need? With that kind of solution, you can very easily plan that kind of decision.